Okay, so we're calling the meeting to order at 6:14 p.m. In attendance are John Galvin, Eric Joubert, Sandy Cortez, and myself, Kathy Keefe. John, do you need us to update you?
Yeah, if possible, I'd love to. I was just reading the minutes now.
Yeah, do you want to take a minute and do that then?
Yeah, well, I did. I was just curious if there, I think I asked you a couple questions when I saw you before,
Yep.
but I didn't really want to get into it until we were here.
Right.
In reading this real quickly, I just was trying to get a feeling on what the Rockland Town Administrator's temperature was, what he thought. I'm reading one thing here that says the Open Space Committee could be aggressive trying to preserve the open space. I'm assuming that means the Rockland.
On the Rockland side of it.
Now, is that the same gentleman that we spoke with? That
Yes, he's part of the green, the green.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just to get a quick synopsis, I don't know who best to answer that.
Yeah. So basically, the town administrator from Rockland, Doug Lapp, came. He gave us a little background history on the relationship between the town administrators. Discussed the pilot taxes. Up to this point, we paid the $57,000. South Shore did approach the town. They met with Frank, and then they approached South Shore Soccer approached the Rockland Town Administrator. He had some concerns: the increase in the traffic, the clearing of the land that would be passive, open space. If we were to lease or sell, then they would need to meet with the Conservation Committee, the Zoning Board of Appeals, and not sure how the town would react to that.
Yeah.
Well, he couldn't speak to that.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's not his.
No,
purview, right?
But he did say that, he would assume that they were willing to hear any sort of scenario out, that they were willing to meet and discuss all possibilities.
And honestly, all of that kind of falls on Southern Soccer. That really doesn't have anything to do with us. If we decided to do
Only if we
an
sold
arrangement with South Shore Soccer, then it's their responsibility to deal with it, not ours. And if it doesn't go through or does go through, that's their problem, not necessarily ours. But it would be, depending upon whatever kind of deal it would made, I guess.
Right.
And he'd also mentioned that they had a meeting on another piece of land, and the Open Space Committee opposed it. Even though the zoning board and the Board of Selectmen approved it.
On the some other property you're talking.
Yes, yep. And he felt that the Open Space Committee would definitely be aggressive on anything we try to do with this, other than keep it as open space.
Yeah.
He did talk about the pilot program in the future. They are interested in acquiring it, whether it's through the Community Preservation Act. And acquired it. We could have a discussion with the pilot. He felt that there were a lot of options between Whitman and Rockland if we kept it as open space with relationship to the pilot program. No open space for town of Whitman. What was the committee? They look at the town and the needs.
Planning?
No.
What was that?
Yes, it expired in 2005.
Yes, the planning.
The Open Space and Recreation Plan.
Yes.
Yes.
For the town of Whitman, open space.
That's Whitman's
plan.
Open Space
Yes.
and Recreation Plan. So
But it expired in 2005?
Yeah.
And it's a process that takes 2 years to make a new plan.
And so just to catch you folks up on that, the Office of the Board of Selectmen is putting forth an application to the Community Preservation Committee in Whitman to fund 50% of the cost of putting another plan in place. We'd be working in conjunction with Old Colony Planning Council.
Okay.
And through their organization, the balance, the 50% balance of whatever the cost would be a grant.
No.
Cool.
Excellent.
So, but as Sandy said, I think it was me who said it's a 2-year plan.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
2-year plan. How much does it cost? How much did the last?
So the total cost would be around $60,000.
Oh,
So Whitman's portion would be $30,000, maybe $15,000 for 2 consecutive years from the
Yeah.
community preservation.
yeah.
So is that something they'd work in conjunction with the recreation department too?
So yes, so in the last open space and recreation plan that I did look through, there were many boards and committees involved in it, and it was, you
Yeah,
know,
everybody, conservation, yeah.
recreation,
And then don't they survey the town people
yes,
too and,
yes, so
and look
that's
for
part of the
input?
2-year process, correct, that
Oh,
is
cool.
why it takes 2 years. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Our guest has a question.
Just a quick question.
Oh, sorry, yes, yes.
When this land was, you have mentioned Frank Lyman had received, the past town administrator had received and negotiated with Rockland about this land prior to. Ethics forbid anybody who had in that position to continue any negotiations.
I don't think there was any negotiations with Rockland.
In the last meeting, it was mentioned.
Well, here's my understanding, and of course, this could be wrong. My understanding was that Rockland offered the town of Whitman
Return of the pilot money
yes,
for the
for the amount that Whitman has paid Rockland and Pilot to return that money in exchange for. I think Rockland approached. Whitman,
That was recently?
No,
What-
that was during Frank Linus. But so the problem here now is we have no way of knowing that. What really happened.
So that would be our current town administrator could reach out and but there should be documentation of all communications.
Yeah.
And
There may be.
review it.
There may be.
Did you get through that pile of paperwork from Frank?
I did. And so basically, the majority, I have a timeline of the trail of conveyances.
Conveyances.
Yeah. Okay, but the trail of conveyances is irrelevant at this juncture, right?
Okay, what did you just ask me? So what did you just ask me?
But all of the documentation that Frank had, conversations with South Shore Soccer and those things.
Okay, that's more recent. The bulk of this is the conveyance lineage or timeline.
Yep, okay.
That is the bulk of the information that I have.
Oh, okay.
So, and he outlined it. I don't know whether there was a public request records because it's all documented. You've got it.
There was
item
a-
one. Blah, blah,
yeah.
blah, 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 blah.
There was a
So is
request.
that something, is that an outline of all of that
It
you
sure
created?
No, this is all Frank Lynam's work.
Okay, alright.
This is all Frank Lynam's work. So this was in the office. Yes.
Yeah, the question really was, because once we accepted it as a town, I think the chair has said, you know, you're working forward, now we've accepted the land, it becomes ours.
Yes.
Because it really was technically not ours, you can't legally have land unless you accept it as a town.
And that just happened at the last.
Town meeting,
That's
exactly.
correct. Okay.
But communications prior to that, faxes to South Shore Select and negotiations through the town, is there documentation of that?
There must be. Do I have that here in this group of paperwork? No.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna make a public records request, and we'll do it in writing too, for the communications, particularly through fax,
Yes.
on this particular land for 1 year prior to acceptance of the land.
Okay. Yeah. So anyways,
There was
Sorry.
any history of previous selectmen comments or was there any of that type of history in there? That's,
selectmen's comments?
yeah,
Also, sure, there are newspaper articles.
yeah,
Old ones.
right.
But so as far as how is that germane to, I'm not sure I understand the relevance of,
What it has to do with our assignment of what we're gonna,
Yeah.
our
Well,
decision.
because it would be interesting to know what has been tried, what they have discussed, what they did or didn't accomplish with it. The history makes it a little bit easier, then we don't have to reinvent the wheel, we can figure out what went where,
well, I
when,
think
and why.
also, I think in this documentation, all of the players are different. We're talking 1951. So I think,
That's on the conveyance of the land in 51. But anything from 1985, when it came to the town of Whitman, even though it was not accepted, there was multiple discussions. I went through, I haven't finished going through, as you know, through the selectmen meetings from that time frame. And there's got to be some more supportive documentation somewhere.
yep, there's some newspaper articles.
Right, and in one of the articles, as a matter of fact, one of the Cole said that they would not sell the land.
Who said?
One of the selectmen.
Yeah, Richard Cole at the time, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry,
Yeah, my
Rosemary.
question pertains to, in the last year, prior to it coming to Finance Committee,
Right.
conversations that were happening with this land. And the reason I'm asking is that abutting lands were purchased, and rarely do you outright purchase land that it would be looking as a pathway to land that you don't own unless you have been promised land you don't own or you have some sort of in to having it. So the adjoining lot, I believe, was purchased already by South Shore.
In Rockland?
Yes.
Really?
I'm going to double check. I believe it was to get through. So I'd like to review.
I don't remember that on their plan.
through?
Yeah, I'd like to quickly review, that's just what I'm hearing, so I'd like to quickly review all emails and make sure that, because we continue to have, we want to make sure everything's on the up and up with anything we do.
Right, so do you have any sort of
Somebody
parcel ID
just-
for the land that you're referring to?
It's the old farmland.
McCarthy Farm?
That was purchased by the town of Rockland.
That was Rockland? Okay.
Yeah, the town of
Yeah,
Rockland
yes,
purchased the
and now-
McCarthy Farm.
Correct.
Yeah,
And
that
that's
was
all
part of
now
their open-
declared green.
Yeah,
That-
that was their.
So
with-
Oh, yeah, they've locked that up,
Yes.
and that's why they want the Rockland they want that portion of the camp,
They used their.
because that would make it green all over in there.
Yeah,
That's
It
why
was
they're
town of
interested
Rockland
in
that
the
purchased
Whitman.
that,
Yeah.
not
How
South
much
Shore.
was it? That was like the.
400,000 was
The timeline of
grant.
everything coming together at this one time.
Yeah, the conversations that Frank had with South Shore Select.
Rockland purchased that farm like many years ago, though, right? Wasn't it?
Not many
4,
years.
5, 6?
No, I don't even think it was that long ago, right? Because they got
I'm
it through a
not sure
grant.
in Rockland,
I think
Debbie.
they did two pieces. There was two pieces, a two-part process. One was a smaller piece, and then the latest one, however.
But still within, it wasn't 2
Within-
years ago, it was probably 3,
Yeah, it
4,
was.
5 years ago.
Yeah,
No.
within the last 5 years.
Five.
That was the bit.
Within, considering we've had this land for 50 years.
Yeah, no, but-
This action is happening right
The part of Rockland buying the two-piece thing that they, with their preservation, plus they got a grant.
Yeah, they paid a
That's-
total of like $750 for it.
Something like that, almost
Yeah.
$800,000.
So that was long before this South Shore soccer was even in the picture.
I do believe.
Yeah, I don't know.
South Shore Slaughter was at least 2 years now, because it had
Yes.
gone already to Finance Committee when we caught it not being accepted, and we denied it and pushed it back. So it had been a couple of years. That's the question I want to know. Were negotiations happening?
Infant?
Were negotiations happening between people in town hall and entities in that ambiguous state?
So I would refer to the notes of the October 4th meeting in 2023 by the Camp Alice Town Committee, where Matt Monroe, who represented South Shore Soccer, presented to us. And he did have a discussion that they were looking to expand and build. Last October, reached out to Frank, touched base with Rockland. Deed, good Girl Scouts, Town of Whitman, wish to use as recreation, can't develop a home. Put on the agenda for town meeting, conversation with Frank, that we got to that point, survey of 30 acres and schematics by Brad Sports, wetlands delineated. First step for layout, hope to put on. Different tweaks, don't want to go further. They've had a few conversations with Rockland, town administrator, and they can and can't do. There was a question of zonage on site, informational owners or residents, hypothetical, because we don't own yet. General feeling, Rockland wants for conservation. Frank, Mary Beth, and Kathy.
Yeah.
Intent, develop recreational use, town of Whitman, if and when school built. by the town so they had discussed letting the town use the soccer fields while the school was being built. They weren't going to put buildings. But yeah, he
Not last October, but the year before that, correct?
No, it was last
No, it was
October.
last October.
well, we've been October
October
before the
2022.
town meeting, yeah.
October
Yeah.
20 of
22.
22.
For some reason, I feel like that date might be off due to what was being presented in Finance Committee for bills.
Oh,
So we
okay.
can review that.
No, then
Yeah.
we'd have to look in
Yeah.
the notes. I mean, that's all we have.
Review notes of Finance Committee, and when we were presented with surveying,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
'Cause that date sounds too early.
No, that sounds right to me, though, based on the time, both based on the selectmen meetings that I attended and the way it was presented to the selectmen. That's about the time frame I.
Well, the way Matt presented it, he said we put it on the agenda when he was speaking at that night.
Yeah,
So it was part of
We
getting it put on the agenda.
the
it
town
sounded like.
administrator put it on the Board of Selectmen's agenda in order to get it to become an article for town meeting. If that's
No, he
what
said
you're
we
saying.
put it on agenda for town meeting to vote.
Right, because
Yes.
that would,
Meaning South Shore Select and Frank put it
oh,
on.
no, well,
That's the way I interpreted it.
well, that's, I mean, that's what
In and around-
needed to happen in order to.
But why was South Shore Select even involved at that point?
Yeah.
Because that was
Because
the
we-
article, that was the article at town meeting.
Right.
The article at town meeting was to.
Okay.
I know
Right,
that
and that's-
also
yeah.
affects the-
Right, it happened very quickly, right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, that's what brought this whole thing to the forefront.
What's that?
South Shore Select approached Whitman.
So there are more than one approaches to Whitman, which is kind of unusual as well, because Justin Evans said in a Finance Committee meeting, well, if we're not gonna do it, give it to these guys, we might want to entertain a fax from the trailer park next door. I don't understand the intent of that particular statement. That was a statement made. That's why I want to review faxes on this. I will make a written
Are you
request.
talking about FAX?
A fax machine, yep. Which is an odd way to have voices.
I don't know.
It's the English. So I just want to review that for the year before to double check.
Okay, so you'll make that request in writing.
I
Yep.
will, then tomorrow.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to. figure
So I'm out of the office, tomorrow. Yeah,
Rush,
just saying.
nothing's gonna happen over Christmas.
Yeah.
Have a great holiday.
You too.
You
Thank
too.
you for coming. All right.
So, have we talked to everybody? So we've talked to Rockland, the green space, not green space, open space guy, and the Newtown administrator, and South Shore Soccer. Have we talked to all the, I wouldn't say players, but all the potential?
I mean,
For instance,
one of the questions we had way back was, well, way back, a couple of meetings ago, was, are we legally able to say we wanted to sell the land? And could we choose between South Shore and the open space, or do we technically have to put it up for auction and have it bid out? I know that was a question that we had, that we're not even sure we could select whoever it was
yeah,
that
what is the municipal process for selling land?
for selling
Yeah.
the land,
Right.
or even leasing the land. Either way,
Right.
You know, I mean, I would think. I mean, to me, I think I'm pretty clear that I don't think Whitman should own this land anymore. Now, whether it's South Shore Soccer or whether it's Rockland Open Space, to me, you know, I think whatever is best for the town. But I don't think owning land in Rockland is best for the town.
Why is
You
it?
know, and to
Why
me-
is it not good to own for the town to own land in Rockland?
Because it's difficult for us to do anything with it. We can't.
We
like,
don't have the jurisdiction.
We can't
Yeah, we
develop it.
Yeah,
We can't.
we
I
can't-
mean,
we
develop
have-
it. I mean, we can't use community funds to
Right.
do anything
Preservation,
for
can't use
preservation
any of that.
funds.
And it's
Our,
costing us money.
our local committees don't have any authority over it. So, I mean,
What do you mean our local committees don't have authority?
Conservation Commission.
conservation, she
we don't
can't
have
do anything.
What would,
Planning board can't do anything.
what would they need to do?
Well,
I
one,
mean-
if we want to do the open, well, what's that lady's name? Jean?
Well,
No, the lady that's on our committee.
June.
oh, June.
So she had wanted, like, clear the land and,
Right.
you know, have pathways. Well, that would cost money.
Right.
And we'd have to have Rockland rezone it because right now it's residential.
Why
So
would it, what would we have to get it rezoned to?
I would think something, I don't know, but I wouldn't think it would be residential. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I think that's up your ballpark wheelhouse there. Kathy.
we'd have to have them rezone it?
I mean,
You
let's
know,
let's say the town voted to take free cash, which we could do, and develop a path, or develop a park over there, walk path, bike path, all of that.
Yeah.
Could we, whatever the number is, let's say it's
So it has to conform to the zoning laws in Rockland.
correct.
Right. So if it's,
So-
so right now it's zoned as residential.
R1, R2, yeah.
That's probably because we're right on Beach Street there, right? All at Campanelli's.
But if the town of Whitman wants to make walking paths on it, wouldn't we need to go to the town of Rockland and have it rezoned
Yeah.
as some
They-
thing? But I wouldn't know what it.
Well, how did they do the farm that was, because that was farm, that was zone farmland.
What?
Well, the whole thing is
But
We are at-
it can stay as woods in an R1, and we can put paths through it without even going through Rockland. That's private land. We
No,
can do
but
what
the land in Rockland is what we're discussing.
Yeah, yeah,
It doesn't
the
matter
land in-
about the land in Whitman.
As a homeowner or a property owner in the town of Rockland, as long as it's within the zoning, you can do whatever you want on your property, right?
Right, but
So if
my
I
thing is, I don't know if having walking paths is a residential zone thing, or it needs to be zoned
Yeah.
differently. That's my
we're
question.
going
I
to
don't
need
know.
permission from Rockland to do anything.
Right.
It's land in their jurisdiction.
Even if it's from the building commissioner to do work on the land, we're going to have to get a permit to do the work and all that. So to me, it's going to be, if that's certainly an option, but that's going to cost
Money.
the taxpayers of Whitman money to do
And who's
Which-
going to maintain it?
and maintain. Right.
So I have I'm going to throw this out here. Let's say we sell the parcel to Rockland.
Mhm.
And let's say they keep it as open space. That's a win-win.
Right.
It's a win-win.
I mean, ideally, that's the best way.
Yeah.
You know.
That way, we're not paying taxes. We're going to get some money.
It stays as open space
And
just
it's-
as we
yeah.
wanted. We get to enjoy the land.
Yeah, because anybody can
Well,
go.
If Rockland's going to purchase it, we can't tell them what they can and cannot do with the land.
No,
But
exactly.
No.
So they can put in housing in there if they want to.
Yes, but I don't. I mean,
And I
So-
think that would be going against the Carlton wishes.
Can I
Unless
ask you-
unless we put a stipulation in the when we sell it that it has
it
to
can't
stay
be.
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are. Yeah.
So what is the conservation component,
So
Sandy, on that parcel? Like, is it wet? Is it, or
I
what is,
haven't walked it, but it's or the way their map was. It's wetlands. So
Okay, great.
which means you can't on the piece of what is it, 30 acres.
it is 30 acres.
So of the 30 acres, I don't know how much is actually wetlands. The wetlands, you can't do it. You can,
Right.
if they're wet, you cannot walk on it. You can't do anything. It's
So
It's
what's
like
the
when people-
likelihood? Right, so what is the likelihood that Rockland is gonna throw up, condos over there?
they
Probably
could.
not likely though.
Well, it depends. I mean, like, let's see. I'm trying to think of a. So
The barracks.
Captain Way and all that. Oh, the subdivision, that huge subdivision across from Skate Land or Skate Town or whatever
Yeah,
it's called.
Little Comfort Estates.
Yes.
Yes,
So a lot of those
backyards. Yeah.
are
Yeah.
wetlands,
Yeah.
which means
Yep.
they can't, those people, even though they own it, they cannot build on anything that's technically wetlands.
Right.
Now, there's conservation land that the town of Whitman has that, like, we have, I wouldn't say a cart path. There's a path off of Auburn Street. You barely even know, the sign's like this big. And there's, paths and everything like that, but I don't know. I've never walked it to know if there's technically
Is that
any
going in
wetlands.
behind Auburnville Way? Is that where we're at?
No, that's
No.
over. That's closer
Between,
to
it's the Boy Scout.
Washington Street, and
Yeah.
it's close to Washington Street, and then Auburn is probably
As you go down the hill,
100
it's on the
yards,
left on the
maybe
side.
100 yards on the left. Like if you're going towards CVS, it's probably, I don't even think it's 100 yards from Washington Street. It's on the left-hand side. If you don't look quick enough,
Yeah.
you will miss it. It's almost like where the farm is that has the big cow, or big bull, the Angus bull. No, it's not an Angus.
What's the street that comes out by Holy Ghost? Smiths lived there.
Webster?
Lorraine Smith. The street.
Harvard.
Harvard. Yeah.
Yes.
It's before the flashing light
Okay.
there. It's right around there.
All right.
Yeah.
It's on the left hand side.
Yeah.
Now, quick question: who maintains that and those paths?
No one, because it's conservation land. Is supposed to just let it go. We had a Boy Scout, Eagle Scout, excuse me. I don't want to call him. He was 18, or not quite 18, technically. So he went in, and it was already there, and he just cleaned up the path and kind of put plexiglass, I think, over the side, and
Right.
yeah. So he maintained, but it's not maintained like somebody goes in and every year makes sure the
Right.
path's there. It's
Right.
kind of like Harding
Wilderness.
Pond.
Real
Yeah.
wilderness.
So like Harding Pond. So here's Harding Pond. Here's Pine Street, and then Priscilla is the
Back
Right,
side.
coming down the back.
yeah, and Mrs. What's her name? It's not Joyce.
Mrs. Campbell.
Yes. So she lives at the end of Priscilla in the cul-de-sac. Well, and 3/4 of the cul-de-sac is Harding Pond, which goes into Abington.
Right.
So there's technically, well, there is, I would say technically. So there's sewer, there's manholes that run between Pine Street and Priscilla. And I didn't even know this until like a few years ago when the DPW got a new piece of machinery and they went and like mowed everything
Through
down.
the woods.
Through the woods, straight through. Yeah, it's like here's the pond, probably 10, 12 feet from the pond, this big strip, like from here to the wall. Just so that they could see the manholes. And then it hasn't been mowed since
Yeah.
for whatever purpose.
I mean, that's similar to what we did just now at Auburn Street through Brockton, where when we went into Brockton, they had to go through.
Yes, because I just did a site inspection to the piece between the vault place on
Yeah.
Auburn Street.
Commonwealth Casket.
Yes.
Yeah.
Through, it's a path.
Yeah.
I mean, and if it's been raining, you get wet. To Alger Street, yes.
Yeah.
So probably
Couple hundred
yards. Well, it's probably 200 length, but from the vault place, like 20 yards, is a stream
Yeah.
that was the Conservation Commission had to. We had to.
That was one of the holdups that Brockton had to approve that too, I think, right?
Yes. Yes.
And Brockton finally did it in a way that saved us money. They allowed it to go a certain way
Yes.
so that we didn't have to, we were able to dig the trenches differently than what we had originally thought.
Yes, but no.
Okay.
So the plan was, yes, they were supposed to go down
Right,
and put the pipe underneath, and then so it would not disturb.
right.
Well, the construction company
Yeah.
that
Didn't follow
doing the work.
directions?
did not follow instructions, and it was dry. Oh, it's dry. There's no stream here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple days later, rain. They just, instead of going down and under, they just went right. They dug a thing and
Built a
it would
dam?
say
But that was in
destroyed.
Brockton, wasn't it? That wasn't in Whitman, or did it start in Whitman?
It's under. No, it was in Whitman.
Alright.
It's like our part. But there's just on the other side that is the Brockton side that has another stream.
Right.
But yeah, they plowed through, so we had to say,
Okay.
So they did not do as planned. So,
Okay.
and
Well, it saved us money. Sorry to say, I don't want to make light of it, but
well, yes and no. They didn't. It would have saved them money doing what they did. The plan. I mean, going this way or this way, it's not that much money. I mean, it's not.
whatever it was like several $100,000 off the what they charged us. So we did save some money. I knew
That part
because I was
wasn't
still on
Whatever they did, it wasn't
hearing that from when I was still on the
$1,000
DPW. But anyway, this
Right,
is
right.
I do have a map of Camp Alice Carlton, and this is the Whitman side.
Right.
This is the line. There's very little highland aside from anything white here is wetlands, and this is where they plan to build. So,
Right.
I mean, I think for what they're trying to do, it works in what they're. I don't know how many other developments would really work with that much wetlands in there, but
Yeah,
again,
I mean, you
that's-
could. I mean,
I'm not necessarily for this. I think I've been pretty open that I just think it's crazy that Whitman owns this land and we're paying taxes on it. So whatever, if we
But nobody's been offered the opportunity. Nobody even knows it exists.
Well, that's-
because they kept it quiet since 1986, and the only time it came out was when they voted to accept and sell it.
I'm not saying that was right. All I'm saying is that we're paying taxes on land that nobody knows about. So how do we figure out a way to let people know about it? I mean, we walked it.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people that are going to want to walk that land. People may want to hunt that land, and I don't know if they're allowed to hunt that land, but people may want to hunt that land. To me, it needs to get to either it's something that Whitman residents can use because we are spending money on it. It's not a ton, but it's still money. And right now, I don't believe it's in that position that it's nice enough land that people are going to hike it. So, to me, sell it to Rockland. That's certainly an option, and I understand the restrictions that would want to get put on it. And that's something that we can negotiate, and I don't know what she was talking about. You have to do some kind of negotiations in order to make this work. So there has to be some conversations between Whitman.
There do, just as we've had conversations.
But I mean, in order to get to where we
But
were.
that's a government-to-government discussion. That's not a
Well, it
private
was-
sector business trying
It
to
was a
come in for-
business. I mean,
It
she's
was.
trying to make something out of Frank talking to South Shore Soccer
Yes,
directly.
yes. Yep.
And whatever that is. I mean, whatever. You have to have some conversations in order to come up with a plan. And the final say goes to town meeting. And town meeting said, we don't want to do it right now. And this committee got authorized to figure out a way. To me, I'd love to see something put forth for next town meeting in May. Hopefully we can. Doesn't have to be anything we have, but
Well, I think we should probably see what the what is the committee they're going to form for? It's called not Open Space Committee.
that's
Okay, no,
that's
it's not
the
a committee.
plan. That's
It's
a
not a
plan.
The plan, right? The
It's a
plan,
plan.
right?
2 years.
It's just
but
a plan.
we can't even do it. That has nothing to do
No.
with what we have now
It
because
doesn't.
that's 2
Well,
years away.
we're going to take land that's been declared in previous plans as part of the town of Whitman's recreational lands, and we're going to get rid of it before we've had a chance to see what this.
But that doesn't
comes up with.
apply. So the open plan only applies to the piece that is in Whitman. Not, it doesn't matter that we own it and it's
I believe
Rockland.
in the plan, I don't have it with me, but I believe it mentions 40 acres of land. in the plan?
I believe that Sandy is right, that it's in
It
the
would not-
jurisdiction of Whitman.
Okay, it's only in.
I can do some research and find
Yeah,
that out.
because
Right.
to me, wouldn't make sense that one town could say, oh yeah, we own it, but it's in your city or town, we can tell you what to do with it.
Therein
wouldn't be
lies the thing. We can't dictate to Rockland
right.
what they do with land in their jurisdiction.
We're
We
not,
can't say that, okay, the 30 acres that are in Rockland, only Whitman residents can go there. That's,
We can't tell Rockland anything
yeah,
about that
but we
parcel.
can't say that only Whitman residents can use that
But if
land.
we sold it to them under the terms that it's gonna be put into conservation, that's something that we could do as selling the land back to them.
That's
Just like if
yes.
we decide to sell it to South Shore Soccer, we could tell them that they have to develop pathways through the Whitman part of the property
It's a stipulation of the
and
sale.
stipulation of the sale
Yeah.
and maintain those pathways for 10 years or
Right.
20 years. I mean, that's really the only control that we have is if we decide to sell it. If we keep it, then we're limited in what we can do to make it more usable for Whitman residents, which is why I have the issue that it really is in a position right now where it's not going to get used that much. I'd like to, either get it off of our books so that we're not paying taxes anymore, but somehow I'd love to get the Whitman part of it developed, and that's why I see South Shore Soccer in there. But if conservation buys it from Rockland, then our property stays the same, but at least we can do something about that. We could use, community preservation
Funds.
money to develop that part, to make pathways.
we could use the money from the sales.
We could use the money from the sales and then use community preservation funds to maintain it.
Yeah.
Or
But I
something like
also-
that,
But you
I
said
think we
with-
also need to look at, like you said, the lease and auction options of what that entails.
Yeah,
Like,
we may not be able to do either.
yeah. So, and to see if we just pull those off the table, that those aren't options.
Obviously, Frank thought we could.
Yeah, but
That doesn't mean we were
can't.
able to. Exactly.
Did he ask, legal or counsel?
So I'm sorry. Can you back up? What are the two options? We're wondering
So,
whether or not
well,
we
we
can
were just saying, do we really have the option to pick who we sell it to? Or does it need to go, if we decide to get rid of the,
I
Yeah, if we
understand.
so if we sell it,
We'd probably have to
How-
auction it.
how would that go about?
Right.
Can it be just like a real estate transaction? We just
Right.
take bids?
Right.
Like you're
but
selling
that's-
your house? Or does it have to be an auction?
Or can we broker something with Rockland?
can we even do that?
Right.
And if we,
Right.
and lease option, what does that entail? Like, I don't want to be like the Head Start and they don't pay a dime. That's ridiculous.
So
I
that
wouldn't
lease
even
is,
call that a lease.
well, the lease is being looked at.
It's a $1.
It's already expired. That's being looked at. But
Yeah.
anyways,
But yeah,
yeah.
so those, because right now we have lease, sale, nothing, auction, kind of, or as our list of
Right.
our options. So I think the lease and the auction for sale, we need to see what legally,
Right.
what that means.
Okay.
We also have the third option of keeping the land for the town of Whitman.
Well, that means
That is
nothing.
an option.
Nothing.
That was one of her, that was one of
Yeah,
her.
that was
nothing.
Right.
Or keeping,
Okay, lease, lease,
Well,
auction, or keep. Okay.
okay, nothing, I'll say nothing / keep.
Right.
So you keep it, then that's a different thing. Because then we'd have to talk to Rockland or do nothing and just leave it as is and pay the taxes on it.
So let me
That is,
find out.
that is an option. That's what we're doing now. So
Yeah.
that's, my only point that I said when I brought Frank is I said that obviously Frank thought we could do that without an auction. Whether or not that was
Right.
true,
Right.
He thought so, and there aren't too many people in this town that are gonna understand those things more than Frank.
Agreed.
But I do think that we need to get some kind of legal opinion on it.
Right.
Because
Okay.
that's gonna affect that's probably the number one thing we need to find out is can we do anything with this land? Is
Yeah.
what we were planning to do even legal? And we would need the Board of Selectmen to authorize.
Right, so the
Use
board,
spending.
so to sell the land, I know that has to go before annual town meeting.
Right.
The recommendation from the Board of Selectmen.
Right, but
That's the way it
how
would go.
can we sell it?
Right.
Was it really the way that it was proposed at the last town meeting? Is that really legit?
And
Okay.
how was it proposed? I missed the.
Well, I think what happened was, didn't that bring up the issue of how Whitman came to own the parcel?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Whether it was
We had to
accept it.
accept
did
it
not-
first.
Right,
But part two was different. Hold on, I think I can get it.
okay.
Where is it?
Yeah, it was, the first part was that we had not formally
Article 9 was for
accepted
the,
Yeah,
Article 9.
to see if they
And
would
then-
accept the land, vote
Right.
to accept the land.
All
Right.
And Article 2 was to see if they would authorize the Board of Selectmen to either sell or lease the land.
But
Was
there were
the
no,
Article 9.
but Article 9 didn't, there were no specifics, correct?
All right.
There was,
so
well, there was an A and a B.
I have it exactly right here.
Okay.
Article P9. To see if the town will accept a parcel of land located in Rockland, Massachusetts. We all understand what that is. And then B, furthermore, to authorize the Board of Selectmen, after compliance with all applicable provisions of MGLC 30B,
Oh, procurement,
to dispose of the parcel of land located in Rockland by either 1, selling such parcel to the town of Rockland, or 2, selling or leasing for a period up to 25 years such parcel to a non-government organization for the purpose of creating ball fields of So it wasn't directly, we're going to sell it to South Shore. It was sell it to
Sell
So-
or lease, period.
sell or
so
lease
30B,
to a non-government organization.
so
And
30,
it wasn't specific, we don't have a seller, we don't have a price for either a lease or selling.
We
So,
don't
right,
know
it was
what
just a
Frank-
general-
Well, we don't know what Frank had
No,
with
but in the
discussion.
town meeting,
Yes, town meeting.
Yeah.
there was no dollar amount for either
No.
a lease
No.
or
well,
selling.
so that chapter 30B has to do with procurement.
Okay.
And so that's how things have to go out to bid, or you get a request for a proposal, blah, 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 blah. But if we're talking about another municipality, I think that's wherein the exception would lie.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to bid it, you don't have to do, if it's going from a government to a government. So that's something we can look up.
So this wouldn't surprise me that the wording in 2, because we're authorizing the Board of Selectmen, so basically to sell or lease to a non-government organization. So that's telling me the way
that's-
that number 2 is worded, that if we get, and I don't know, but this is my quick read on it, that if town meeting authorize the Board of Selectmen to sell it to a non-government organization, that would get around any requirements of auction. Because town meeting said we could do it. They didn't say exactly who it was for, though
You know what?
everybody
There's a
knew who it
whole-
was for.
It's all gonna be in this chapter 30B. So
Okay.
I'm on that like a bonnet.
Okay.
Yep. So that will dictate the means by which, or whatever procedures you have to do
Yeah.
to they call it dispose of,
Dispose of parcel of land.
yes.
Okay.
Yep. So that'll probably dictate the way in which Whitman, if they were to sell,
What
or
are
whatever,
other,
it would
part of
tell
the
us,
options would be
it
that we would
would
have.
tell us the avenue that we would have to go to do such a thing.
Okay.
But their intent was to dispose of the land,
Yes. There's
Complete.
no question about that.
right?
Yeah.
No question
And
about that.
why,
Yeah.
why would we dispose of land that we own that's decent land? It's conservation.
Well, it's not conservation land.
Not conservation, but I mean, it could be utilized in that direction, right?
Not by us. Not by Whitman. Whitman cannot put it in conservation. Whitman could put the Whitman part of it into
Town of Rockland could put it in conservation.
Connerock, but they don't own it, so they couldn't do it without Whitman's approval.
That's good.
Well, that's why I was trying to figure out who makes land conservation land.
to make that parcel, it would be,
It would have
I'll
to
let
be.
her answer that.
Yeah.
It would have to be the town of Rockland's. Either it would be probably their conservation commission, but with the, do they have selectmen? I don't know
Yes.
what they're, okay.
Yes, I
they're
think it's the
arranged like
same-
this.
right.
So then the conservation commission would have to say yes, but then they would have to,
The town of Rockland Conservation Commission.
yes, and their selectmen would have to say, we're gonna make this conservation land. Which doesn't mean there's wetlands, though there are.
Yeah.
But it's conservation land, so you can't build on it. It can be recreational, like the ponds, Hobart and Harding. They're recreational, but they're also part of the Conservation Commission because it's the wetlands and water.
Right.
So, yeah, they can make it conservation land, but that's under the jurisdiction of the town of Rockland.
Right.
And their conservation commission.
So,
Could they make as owners, as the town of Whitman owning the property, could the town of Rockland make that conservation land?
Without owning it?
We couldn't.
But can the town of Rockland?
I would not think so without our permission.
correct. Without the
With
permission of
the select.
town meeting.
Yes,
as well.
but yes, the town. It'd be town meeting. The Conservation Commission of Whitman would not have any
Right.
control or any really legal say in it.
So-
We could advise. Yeah, that would be great to have making this conservation land, but it would be up to the town of Rockland to.
Now, would that remove, if it was conservation land, would that remove our requirement to pay in lieu of taxes?
No.
No. So,
No, because people like, actually, I just went to Constitution Circle last Saturday. They have wetlands, and they have a tree house that's not supposed to be in the wetlands, but it's there. So anyway, they wanted to know can we get an abatement? It's like, I don't know.
Oh, and the real estate taxes?
I was like, you'll have to go see the assessor because that's
Right.
not my
Right.
jurisdiction. All I know is you need to get that tree house out of there and don't put anything else in there. But yeah, so that would be up to the town assessor to
Right.
give an abatement.
We don't. We've not.
I didn't want to tell
look at
them
her,
that.
she's still we when it
I
comes
know,
to that.
I know, yeah, I know. I can't help it. I
Oh,
know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like I didn't tell them, but I
Right.
didn't think so because that's not my
Yeah.
Right,
piece of,
Right.
authority.
right.
But it's like, that's who you
Not
have
to
to go see.
conservation, but I will say, we do discount some of the land value if it is, delineated as.
Yes, so if it's wet,
Yeah.
it might not be wetlands. So that's
That's
what
right.
people get real, I've got wetlands. Like, no, you don't. Whitman has a very high water table.
Right, so your
So
definition.
houses over on, what's that street? It's off of Auburn. It's got a weird name. Noslow or something like that.
Noslow Terrace.
Yes. This lady,
Noslow, yep.
I've got wetlands. You can't. How'd you approve my house if it's on wetlands? Like, your house isn't on wetlands. Your house, your soil's wet.
Yeah.
It's not wetlands. You just live in a wet area.
Why
I'm high
keep
up
picking
on
on it?
I'm
It's
high up on
not a
High Street, and I still get a flooded basement, and it's not wetlands.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the high water
Yeah.
table.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
when it rains.
So
Yeah.
just what it is. But yeah, so the Conservation Commission of Whitman could yes, this would be a great idea, but the town of Rockland would have to
Yeah.
do that, and then we'd still have to pay taxes
Still
on
have to
it
pay taxes, so we're still
because
stuck. Right.
So would,
And then at that point, once it's conservation, it would be even more difficult for us to do any work up there to
Yeah, you
develop,
can't.
yeah, we'd be
to
shooting
develop
ourselves
the
in foot.
walkways,
Yep.
or could we
Well, you
maintain
could
the walkways?
You could do like that, but you still couldn't do anything in the wetland area.
No,
Yeah.
I understand that.
But no.
But the Highland area,
Yeah,
is-
you could.
if it
Yeah,
was conservation land, we
you
could,
can have paths. Yeah, just like the one off
so we
of
could
Auburn.
build the paths?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we could
Say we get town meeting to approve, money to do that, free cash, not conservation, not community preservation or anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's, it's an option too to get free cash to do it. And I mean, to me, it's just, again, back to, we're paying money, it's not getting used recreationally by very many people. I mean, like I said, there's probably hundreds up there. Obviously, Eric goes up there, and there are other people in that neighborhood. I'm sure there are lots of kids in that neighborhood that go up there and play.
Yeah, I mean,
There's
the
probably
other
also
thing.
lots of kids that go up there
If
and
you
do
want-
things that they're not
Yeah.
supposed to do.
Yeah.
As we all did.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if
That
you
would be
want
an
people to
ideal
know
place.
about it, I think the biggest thing is you get an article in the paper and tell people about, the town of Whitman owns this property. Walk it, enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's trees, lots of trees. There's no paths right now.
Okay, so
But-
where are people gonna park?
Exactly. That's another issue.
See,
And actually, Eric has a solution to that, but that would cost money too, to buy the property down the street.
Maybe they're generous people and want to donate to the town of Whitman, provided that we will follow their donation requests like the Carlton family. Because it blows
keep
my
circling
mind that
back
we're
to
going to
that.
destroy what the Carltons wanted. They wanted us to have that woods as woods for the town of Whitman.
Right, but the thing is, did they understand that the property, we would not have any control over the property? That's my thing.
What is it that we don't have control of? I'm trying to.
Paying taxes.
Okay, that's
we have to
okay.
pay
Paying
for it.
taxes,
So
right?
when you give somebody something, so when you donate,
Yeah.
it's technically there's no obligation for it. You're giving me something, I can do whatever I want with it. Yes, you might have things, but it shouldn't cost me a dime. You're giving me this pen. Okay, thank you. But now no, now I need the top of the pen.
It was gifted as real estate. Real estate property has taxes attached to it. That's a known.
Not in Whitman, it wouldn't.
It wouldn't,
In the gift,
In Whitman, it wouldn't.
but if you
Open
give a
space
gift,
doesn't. Rockland does, but Whitman doesn't.
yeah,
but the town accepted it. So we accepted it knowing there was a tax bill.
Not the tax started
No.
long after
Yeah.
we accepted it. Technically.
No,
We
just
accepted it
legally.
in
We just
May.
legally
We
accepted
We
legally
accepted
accepted
it.
it.
No, we accepted it in May. The town
Yeah.
accepted it in May.
They did.
So
They did.
But when we first took it in back in '85, we didn't start paying taxes on it till what?
11.
2011.
2011.
11.
Yeah, I mean, there's not an easy answer here. There's no question about
yeah.
that.
But if we keep it, then
Well, what I can do is find out.
I wouldn't say it's a money pit. I don't want to say it like that.
It's not. It's not. I mean, what is
But
it?
it's costing us money for something that was a gift.
I mean, ideally, I'd love to see
That's
Rockland make an offer and tell us what they would offer to get it. That would so, because we technically we don't know the details around it, but South Shore Soccer has said this is what we want to do. Now, I don't think there was any discussions on pricing or value or anything like that on what South Shore Soccer would lease it for or buy it for. Maybe there was, and
we don't know because we don't know what was said.
I'd love to have
was there any discussion of finances with South Shore Soccer?
No, so here's the thing. We don't know what their.
No,
piece
but we
with
don't know
Rockland
what
is.
Frank or anybody said dollar
Well,
wise.
how can Social Select say to us anything till they get, I don't know.
No. If South Shore Select wants this property, they're buying it from us, regardless of what
You're
happens over in
talking about
Rockland.
buying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to move forward with this, they're buying this property,
And then-
regardless what happens. Rockland could deny them totally, but
And they would
in
be
my
stuck with-
opinion,
yeah.
That's on them.
if it comes around that there's a decision made to go through South Shore Soccer, no money on the table, pal. What happens afterwards? That's your
Yeah.
problem.
So now, here's the thing, South Shore Soccer not being a governmental entity or a public entity, then that it would change the rules by which we would sell that.
not according to Frank.
Yeah,
This would be
yeah, I
the
wonder, let
chapter
me look at
30.
that.
Because the way, like I said, the way that's worded,
The procurement, yeah.
getting authorization from town meeting to go ahead and take it to a non-governmental
Yeah, I'd want to
organization.
double check that.
That to me is got Frank written all over it.
Yeah, bypassing that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's got Frank written all over
Okay,
it.
so,
That's what I'm saying. There's not too many people in this town that knows all these little
That's right.
innuendos like Frank does.
yep,
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
but yes, the other option,
They South Shore Select spent money having the property survey,
yes.
right? We spent how much? 6,000 to get the 7,000
Oh.
to get the 10 acres done. So they spent how much to get the 30 acres done?
It's all part of the thing.
All part of what thing?
When they
When
did
did we
the
authorize
whole-
10,000 to?
well, no, it was, Kyle Garvey did a survey of the Whitman side. I have the map in my office.
And then South Shore Select
Can you
paid
give me a copy?
to have a survey
It's
of the
huge.
Yes, I
Rockland
know.
land done.
Whitman
Because
paid-
we can maybe he can give us a reduced copy.
Oh, I can ask Kyle Garvey to
Yes,
send
well,
a PDF of that.
Yeah, because I just saw Carl last night.
Oh, you can ask him.
I'm
Yeah,
stepping
yeah,
back
just
here.
have-
Who paid Carl to do that? Whitman did?
Town
When did we
Whitman
do
did.
that? When did we authorize that?
And the last, since it was after South Shore Select approached Whitman.
So, but that if it's over $10,000, you have to have.
It wasn't.
6. So
It
it's
was-
probably got the authorization from the Board of Selectmen who paid it out of one of their
Accounts. Yep.
accounts, which.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I
that-
probably missed that Board of Selectmen's meeting.
Yep. So that's the Whitman side, of course.
Yeah.
Just the Whitman
Yeah,
side.
I'd love to have
Yep.
that too. That would
Yeah,
help
it's
a lot.
down in my office. We can ask Kyle for a.
Yeah.
He might have, when he dropped that off, sent one along. I don't know whether it
Yeah,
hit
that'd
my
be awesome.
email or not, but
And I could marry it, hopefully try to marry it in with the
Yeah.
one that I did of
That'd
the
be
two
great.
drawings of, so that we have it laid all in one file.
all right.
We'll see
So
how it comes together.
can we all meet January 10th?
I think I fly.
I probably can't, but please don't stop you.
Okay.
January 10th.
Well, what is or the 17th then? Would be the following.
I think I return on the 17th. So,
So the 10th?
Yeah, I was looking at the 10th.
10th works for me. That's actually the day that I
oh, shit. All right.
As I was mentioning to you earlier,
that's my Wednesday work from home. So that's even better.
the next
No
2 months, any Wednesday is going to be tough for me. So Thursdays might work, but it's up to you guys.
Okay, I'm okay with Thursday. Why do we end up on Wednesdays?
I don't know.
I thought Wednesday was the day somebody could do it.
That was probably me
Back
early.
earlier in
I
the.
said at 6 o'clock,
Okay, I can do
But-
it Thursday.
I can do Thursday.
Thursday the 11th. Can Ken do so?
No, I can't do that week. I'm away.
At
that
all,
week.
so
Yeah, I would. So,
The 18th?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, what?
Why do I think there's something on the 18th? Maybe the 18th.
Is it your granddaughter? No, your granddaughter was just born, so it can't be her birthday.
No, it isn't. No, maybe the 18th.
I can't do the 18th. But that's
You
all
cannot.
right. No. So do Wednesdays.
How?
I could do the 11th or the 25th. Or the 1st or the 15th of February, but we don't want
Okay, what day of the week is the 25th?
Thursday?
Thursday.
Okay, January 25th.
Really, thank you. Does that work for you, Eric?
Sure. I just see if I get
And so now, does the time matter?
No, 6 o'clock is fine. If that 5 o'clock, even if you want.
No,
we
we can
do
do 5 because
Okay, all right.
I'll be in Westwood.
You should be in traffic.
6 o'clock.
I'll be in, yeah.
Okay, so January 25th at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so the directive I'm going to give myself is to check into the way in which one would sell
Yes.
town-owned property. Like what do we have to go through to do that?
Yes.
The procurement side. I'll check
Yes.
that.
The Head Start thing, where is that? What, Is that
Corner
the old
It's over
school?
by the,
It's across from the playground.
Corner
Yes.
by the
Okay,
playground,
yeah,
the old
what
school
was,
there.
yeah, what was, Corthell Building?
Yes,
Is that what
yes,
that-
sir,
right?
yes.
Corthell, right?
Yes.
Okay. What's it, any idea what that property's worth?
Oh, you know what? So here's the thing. It's tax exempt.
Right,
So yes, we can pull the property record card on that. Absolutely.
yeah. Just curious what that's worth.
Yeah, that's
That's
a
it.
lot of people then having issue with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
why, the
lease.
dollar or
Yeah,
just because of what it is?
Not because what it is, because that's the dollar. Because
Right.
because Head Start is a very, very big organization that can certainly afford paying
is
a
it a
reasonable.
non-profit, a for-profit, or?
It's a
It's
nonprofit.
a non-profit, but it's
But I
nationwide.
wouldn't say it's like the Red Cross, but
It is.
is kind. It's not the Mothers Club of Whitman,
No, correct.
which we are a nonprofit.
It's basically
Yeah.
low income nursery school.
that is
Right.
financed by
The state?
and then federal.
Federal government?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it has deep pockets, but it has pockets.
It has pockets. Yeah.
Okay, do we want to approve any of the meeting
Yes.
minutes of the previous?
Okay, we'll do the first two and then I'll finish getting the November out then.
Okay.
So will
Alright.
someone make a motion and sort of name the,
I will make a motion
minutes.
to approve the
October,
November 4th.
no, November,
we're not-
that's
I'm
not
sorry.
complete, no, prior. The other two, the October 3rd and the
October 3rd and
20th,
sorry,
I think it was.
different notebook.
October 4th and October 26th.
October 4th and October 25th.
so who made the motion?
Me.
I'll second that.
It's not my ground to say all.
Any discussion?
No,
All in favor?
I,
I'm gonna
Sorry.
abstain
Too much
because I
hang-
haven't done
Too much
that.
for
Okay.
last night of like, oh,
I'm abstaining.
I need a motion, second, all in favor?
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the next meeting is the 20th of January.
25th.
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 25th of Jan.